Well, welcome back to another game of Precision Baseball. My name is Brian Hafferkamp. I'm the designer and creator of this game, believe it or not, even though I don't know its name. Um, in this game, we're going to have a matchup between Seattle and Oakland from 2003. This is played April 2nd, so game number 2 of 2003. I played game number 1 offline, and it was a 4-2 victory for Oakland. Oakland got a solo home run from Marubio Durazo in the 8th inning, went oppo against Jorge Mateo. Mateo takes the loss, and Tim Hudson goes 8 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs for the win. Keith Folk comes in for the save, and Oakland starts the year 1-0. This matchup is going to be Barry Zito against Jamie Moyer. So a couple of lefties with good breaking stuff. And this is played using the new 2003 Precision Baseball set. So that is now available. So you can go to clarkandaddisongaming.com and pick up this series, this set. We'll be playing at sorry, this should be at Oakland. Let me go ahead and print that off. All right, now we got the stadium. You can see we are at Network Associates Coliseum, aka Oakland Alameda Coliseum. And pretty standard. There's nothing particularly difficult or weird on here. It's just more of a standard ballpark. Over the scoreboard and right. Maybe there's a scoreboard out here. So that's what we'll be playing with. I plan to do several games against Seattle and Oakland, and just starting out here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, click on subscribe. We are up to 250 plus subscribers on the channel, so thank you to everyone who has subscribed. If you find yourself coming back here all the time, do yourself a favor and just click on subscribe. It will send Google will send you notifications about when new videos are posted and things like that. You can work with your settings to get notifications by email, or you'll see them in your feed, your subscriptions feed, whenever you go to your subscriptions feed and there's a new video. So just makes it a little bit easier for you. I know I have a lot of things in my subscriptions. It also helps the person who is creating the content. YouTube likes people subscribing, and the more subscribers you get, the better things are for you. Hoping for 1,000. Then maybe we can monetize it a little bit, but for now, just happy with the 250 we got. We started this channel about a year and a half ago, and so slowly gaining traction. And as I create more games, more content comes out, and we get to do more gameplay sequences like this. All right. So if you want to write in, I'm just using the DigiDugout score sheets. They're pre-printed, pre-filled with the as-played lineups. If you want to put in, so I'm doing their range, their error, and either their arm for the outfielders or the double play rating here. And then I have their steal/run ratings. So I'm just taking those straight from the cards here and transferring them over here. That way I don't have to go back whenever I need to know what a guy's run rating is, like shuffle through the cards. So that does help. It's an extra 5 minutes, but it is super helpful actually to be able to put that in. And then I also, down here, I go to their manager tendencies, which I do have the manager tendencies here. These are the 2003 ones. So I've gone in, it's Kim Maka, and they're aggressive all the way through, the A's are. And for Seattle, it's Bob Melvin, and they're mostly cautious. So two different running styles for these teams. And I just put those down here. So first to third, first to home, second to home, and trail running. That way, again, I don't have to go back and look. if you don't care and you have a place like a way you can set up to just kind of see that. For me, the game spreads out pretty large. The footprint for this one is not small, so you can make some things smaller by combining them, but I like to have the gameplay sequences here, the errors and the player finder here, and then all the other fielding and base running charts. And then I keep my over here I keep my baseball stadium. Obviously we have the main gameplay mat here, and then we're keeping score here. If you're keeping score on a computer, you have like a little bit more leeway, but over here I have the fly balls and line drives. I have the ground balls and the base runner advancement. Those are just kind of always on top, so to speak. And then I have the highlight plays, which may or may not ever get used in a game, but they are over sort of far away. And then I have all the bunting and, you know, the I don't know what you call strategy plays, I guess. I have all those kind of up for quick reference if I need to use them. I don't use a lot of strategy plays. I play mostly like a straight up kind of thing, but it's got bunt for hit, bunt, sacrifice bunt, excuse me, hit and runs and stuff like that. So let's get into this one. This is Zito against Ichiro, Wynn, Randy Wynn, and Edgar Martinez. I guess will go down. Brett Boone is hitting 4th. Olerud is at 1st, hitting 5th. Cameron is in center field, hitting 6th. Jeff Cirillo gets a start at 3rd. He's hitting 7th. Carlos Guillen, who didn't start game 1, but is starting game 2. He's hitting 8th and playing short. And then Ben Davis is a catcher. Mark Ellis for Oakland leads off. Scott Hatteberg at 1st. Miguel Tejada at short. He's hitting 3rd. Eric Chavez is at 3rd base. He's hitting 4th. Jermaine Dye gets a start in right field. He's hitting 5th. Rubio Durazo, the DH, is hitting 6th. Terrence Long is in left, hitting 7th. Ramon Hernandez is playing catcher and hitting 8th. And then Chris Singleton is in center field. So let's get this one going. And it will be Suzuki, Wynn, and Martinez. Now Suzuki went, I believe, 0 for 4. Yeah, he went 0 for 4 in the first one. He actually had a couple of pop-ups, so not quite into mid-season form yet. But the way we play the game is we roll 3 D10s, and I like to roll this D20. I roll them all together. But what we do is we determine which card the play is going to come off of first. Okay, so the first thing we do is we look at, and everything is splits in this game. So these are your sort of totals down here. You can see what kind of FIP and innings pitched and K percentage and all that kind of stuff that a pitcher has against righties and lefties. The red is right, the black is left. And so Zito is a left-hander. He's facing Ichiro, who is a left-hander. So we look at Zito versus left-handed batters. He's a -1. Ichiro against left-handed pitching is a +6. That's as good as you can get. So for a pitcher, -6 is as good as you can be. A hitter is +6. So Ichiro, we add these together. 6 minus 1 is going to be +5. And then we take that +5 and we add it to 10. And then we say Ichiro gets the advantage on a roll of 1 to 15. So if all things are equal, it's 1 to 10, 11 to 20 on the D10 roll. So it's like a 50-50, true 50-50. Because you have either 2 really mediocre, 2 really bad, 2 really good players, right? But in this case, Ichiro is excellent against left-handed pitching, and Barry Zito is better than average, but not by much, against left-handed batters. You can see not a great year here for Zito, for about a 404, 403, I guess 403 FIP on the year. So that's not Barry Zito as Cy Young winner kind of year. So we have an advantage here to Ichiro of a +5. And so normally it'd be 1 to 10, 11 to 20, but we take that +5 advantage and we add it to the batter. If this had been a -1 and a -6 and would have been -7, oh well, I'll show you on a different at bat. But when the pitcher has the strength, then we're going to subtract whatever that is from 10. So the number of times in the roll that the batter can have the advantage would go down. If the pitcher is better, if the batter has an advantage, the number of rolls, percentages, times in the roll goes up, so he can control the at bat more. Now again, this is not trying to say anything qualitatively about anything. All this roll does is try to get you to the player to start the roll. And I did want to do straight 50-50. I thought, well, a good pitcher against a bad hitter should have some sort of advantage. And so if you wind up with a bad pitcher against a really good hitter getting the advantage, then you're going to be rolling off of that bad pitcher's card. So it's not really an advantage, but maybe it's more of an advantage than if you're rolling off Barry Bonds' card. So you got to kind of look at it relatively. But if a bad pitcher is facing a bad hitter, you know, one of those two bad cards is what's going to happen. So I think just trust me on the math on this. You can figure out if you want to. I've had a guy roll through and kind of put together just briefly what the matchups are like and are they accurate, and he compared them against I think it's Stratomatic has an application where you can pit one player against another, and it comes up as accurately as Strat does. So not worried about the math. The math is right. But this is just the way to kick off each at bat and to get you, if there's an advantage to be had by one player or the other, then that advantage more than likely comes up. So here we got a 1 to 15 for Ichiro to control, and then when we add or subtract, we always add it to the batter roll. We have a 12, so that's going to mean Ichiro is going to come off of his card the play result. And both in the game guide and here in the gameplay sequences chart, it tells you how to make that adjustment, the batter control range and what that would be. And then it just kind of walks you through each of the different types of rolls that you're going to do, things to remember. So if the 3 of a kind comes up here, this is what you do, and that kind of thing. Then we're going to read red, white, and blue. That's how I like to read them. You don't have to, but it's super easy to remember. And so we go 137, and each roll is a 1 to 1,000 roll, which also gives the game a lot of statistical accuracy because every roll is a 1 out of 1,000, which is a .001. So the statistical accuracy is down to .001. So that if you have one, like a highlight play, tap down the third baseline lets it roll foul, but it stays fair. It's an infield hit. Says it hits the batter out of the box, he's out. Like those are like 1 out of 1,000 kind of plays. So a lot of accuracy to the game. And then in order to get to that is you have to roll a 1 out of 10, or I don't know, a 10% chance of getting to that roll. So it's there's a lot of really small numbers involved in terms of chances in this game, so everything is pretty accurate. And when you play it, it'll feel like baseball. I mean, everything always does. Every game always does, and it's amazing. So Ichiro is up. He is going to have control of the at bat, and then we have a 137. So we're looking on Ichiro's card. He's facing a left-handed pitcher, so we're going to look in this black column. A 137 falls in his 1 to 290 range. That's a ground ball. So on a ground ball, we need to find out where the ball was hit. So 432. I'll just show you each way through the sequence. So we have a ground ball. We have all of our potential players who could field a ground ball. A 432 is going to be hit to the shortstop, so it's in this 381 to 680 range. So the ball's hit to the shortstop. Now we need to see, is there an error on the play? So our shortstop is Miguel Tejada, and Tejada's error rating is a +3. So remember, that's why I wrote these down. Otherwise, I'd have to rifle through that set of cards. A 021. Now, there's definitely a possibility here for an error. And so we go to, this is a player finder, this is the error. These are the two things on this chart that you're going to be, or this page you're going to be using the most. There's also double plays on the backside, if there's a range play, if you need to use the outfield arm play, and then also robbing home runs, which we can rob home runs in left field, dead center, and right field. Left center and right center, the wall is too high. So that's here on the, we have the wall heights here. If it's 10 feet or less, then you can rob the home runs. If it's greater than 10 feet, then you can't. So there's no robbing a home run at left field at Fenway Park, for instance. So try to make that as realistic as possible. Again, the name of the game is precision. It may not be the way you want it or like it, or it may not be very gamified, but it is precise. That's what we're going for. All right, so 021. Our guy is a +3, so he's greater than 1. So we're in this column here, and you can see red is an error. So 1 to 16 is an error for that fielder, and that's going to be a good catch by the fielder. Now with nobody on base, I usually just take the automatic. I just assume the throw to first. You could roll for another error to see if there's an error on the throw. Either one. I just usually, it speeds up the game a little bit to just take that. Okay, and now with the pitcher stamina, after each play, you get a -1 for every batter faced. So we just faced a batter. You get a -1. You get a -1 for every walk. A -1 for making more starts than actual. So that's more like a long season replay kind of thing. A +1, which means you add 1 to this number. +1 for a strikeout. +1 for a 1-2-3 inning. +1 for a double play. +1 if no runners score when the bases are loaded. And +1 after a mound visit. So you can perform a mound visit and give your pitcher a little extra boost there. For us, we had a ground out with no strikeout, no walk, no nothing. So that's just 1 off of his stamina. And their stamina starts here. This is their average batters faced in each game that they got into. So that's how we get to that number. And this, you're going to wind up, you could face, let's see, who was it? Huddy. Huddy's stamina was 28, and he faced 29 batters. Freddie Garcia's stamina was 26, but he faced 31 batters. But he also had, I want to say he had a double play in here somewhere. There's a double play here. He had 1 walk, but then he had 5 strikeouts, and it all just kind of adds up to, I think he had some 1-2-3 innings, so it all kind of adds up to you being able to face more batters. And Tim Hudson still had like 10 on his stamina. I could have let him go out there for the 9th, but I was just trying to get the win with Keith Foulke. So he could have easily faced 30-35 batters. So you can go past your stamina, you can go less than your stamina if you walk a lot of guys. It just the game is very variable like that, I guess. Not every game is going to be the same. Alright, so Randy Winn is up. Winn is a switch hitter, so he's batting right-handed against the lefty Zito. So against righties, Zito is a -1. And against lefties, Randy Wynn is a +4, so he's a 1 to 13, so he's a +3 in his advantage between these two, and then we add that to 10. So 1 to 13, he'll control the at bat. It's a 7, so this comes off of Wynn's card. 0-90 is going to be we look here in the left-hand side. He's facing a left-handed pitcher. That's a ground ball again. A 9-1-1 is going to be to the third baseman. A 672 is no error on the play. Anything above 244, you can see here, anything above 244 is going to be green, so no error. So if you don't cross under 244, there's no real need to check. So we have a ground ball to third, and the play's made at first. That's how I play it. We move him one more. And Edgar Martinez, the Hall of Famer. Up, he's a +5. Against Zito, he's going to be a 1 to 14 for control. This is a 1, so that's almost always going to come off the batter. So there's little tricks there. If it's a 20, that's almost always going to come off a pitcher. You would have to be the worst kind of batter, or the worst kind of pitcher, the worst kind of batter, and the best kind of pitcher for 20. Or the worst kind of pitcher and the best kind of batter for a 20 to come into play for the batter. But we got a 126, and that's going to be against a lefty. 126, another grounder. So 3 ground balls here in the first inning. We got a 476, that'll be to the shortstop. And a 131, so this is less than 230 or 244. So this is a potential error. We got a shortstop. Shortstop again is Tejada. Tejada is a +3. Excellent shortstop, but you can see here 1 to 16 is his error range. And so that is not an error. So we get 3 ground balls to the left side. And that's a 1-2-3 inning for Barry Zito. So normally we would take 1 off for the batter. Or you can actually do this if you want to. But you get 1 off for the batter, and then you get a +1 for the double play. I mean, for a 1-2-3 inning. So effectively, it just stays where it is. Same thing on a strikeout. You would get 1 for the batter, and then +1 for the strikeout. So on those different types of plays, it's like on a double play, a 1-2-3 inning, strikeout. Now, if he had struck the batter out as the third out of a 1-2-3 inning, he would have gone 1 for the batter, and then +1 for the strikeout, and +1 for the double play. So you can see how their stamina range can change throughout the game. But as it is, he's at a 25, and we switch sides, head to the bottom of the first. So until something strange comes up, that's the normal gameplay that just is going to happen every time. That was 2. Jamie Moyer comes out. He is much better against right-handed pitchers, probably that big hook and changeup that he's got. Against lefties, not so bueno. And he's facing a right-hander, so he's a -3. Mark Ellis against lefties is a +2. So +2 -3 is a -1. Now here you take the 10 and you subtract 1, because our overall is -1. So 10 minus 1 is 9. A 1 to 9, Mark Ellis will control the at-bat. It's a 15. So this is going to come off of Moyer's. We almost had a 3 of a kind. Always look out for the 3 of a kinds, because that usually triggers something different, rare. On this first roll, if you get a 3 of a kind, it can trigger a highlight play, which those are unusual and often quite fun to get through. 233. 233 for the pitcher. So the pitcher's facing a right-handed batter, so we look in this red. 233 falls in the fly ball range, and the fly ball will go to the left fielder. No error on the play. 951 is definitely greater than 244, so fly ball to left for Mark Ellis. And we take one off for Moyer. Both pitchers with the 27 stamina. Moyer, about a 420 or so. Yeah, about a 420, 425 FIP for the year. You get the FIP split out here, but it's not totals, but you can see how they perform. Definitely a fly ball pitcher, more than a ground ball pitcher. So we'll see how that goes against this fly ball hitting, home run hitting Oakland A's team. So Scott Hatteberg up. This is a lefty-lefty matchup. So against lefty pitchers, he's a 3. Against lefty batters, he's a 1. So that's a 4. We add that to 10. 1 to 10. 1 to 14 is control for Scott Hatteberg. A 13. So this goes to the batter. This is a big-time play. 999. 999 is, if you look against a left-handed batter, 986 to 1,000 is a home run, and we have a potential home run. And now remember, we can rob home runs in different parts of the park, so we got to see first. We roll our D20, and we look at our ballpark chart here for the hits. We look into the home run. I'll probably change that to black. It's hard to see. The 2, fly ball down the line in left field. And just like that, he goes oppo for the home run. Scott Hatteberg for the home run. That's a solo shot. Got into a favorable count and put a good swing on it. So when do you rob home runs? You rob home runs when it says just over the whatever wall. So just over the left field wall, left center, center field, right center, and I don't have one for right field, I don't think. Oh, just over the right field fence. So if you get any of these, and let's say it was to right field, then you would use the chart, and you would use the outfielder's range rating to figure that value out. But as it is, Scott Hatteberg goes deep. Second player of the game. It's now 1-0 Oakland over Seattle. Miguel Tejada against lefties is a +6. -3 is a +3, so 1 to 13 again. This comes off of the batter card. Again, it's another 900 number, so 900s are good, usually hits. And often, if it's a home run hitter, you know, it's probably going to be a home run. So 962 is a little high. Against a lefty, it's a home run though. 962. Well, I guess there's a possibility of something else. 13 is going to be deep to right center field. So Miguel Tejada gets a hold of one and crushes it to right center. No easy feat at this ballpark. So we have back-to-back home runs, and it's 362 to right center field, so not exactly long necessarily, not historically long, but Tejada takes care of business. Xavi up against Jamie Moyer. This time it's a 19. Moyer's going to control that, so he's a +2 and a -3, so 1 to 9. This comes off of Moyer's card. 364 against a left-handed batter. 364 is a fly ball. That goes to left field. And 777, do we have a on the error roll? Can't remember. I don't think we have any errors, anything to do on an error roll. If the fielder roll is a 3 of a kind, you do a range check. So that's going to be an out made fly ball to left. So 4 fly balls for Jamie Moyer. I told you he's a fly ball pitcher. And that kind of detail comes into play in this game. Thinking about these numbers here are directly tied to these numbers here. So this is a different kind of snapshot for what you see here. You can read the numbers from up here. His ground ball percentage against right-handers is 1 to 19, 19.1. And he's got a 35 though. Is that right? Fly ball percentage. It's because okay. It's because we're using a different scale. I'm adding in all these different layers here, hits and everything like that. They're just doing ground balls to at bats. So ground balls also includes ground ball base hits and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but you can get definitely a sense of their ground ball percentage. How many of these things are going to wind up as ground balls? K percentage, I guess, is more true to life. 55 to 70 is 15%, and we have his K percentage here is 15%. So the K percentage is there's nothing else to compare, but with the ground balls, his ground ball percentage down here includes every ground ball that's hit, whether it's an out or a hit or whatever. Up here, I'm only looking at ground balls per out, so that's how that works. That is the discrepancy between those two things. But you can get a sense of what kind of pitcher he is just by looking down here. And then this is, even though it's not using the same stats, it's going to reflect that. So, all right, Jermaine Dye to the plate. Now we got a 5. Jermaine Dye against lefties is a 0. Moyer against righties is a -3. So he's a 1 to 7 for control. It's a 5. Another high number, 927. 927 against the lefty is going to be a base hit. Now we need to find out where the hit went. So we roll our D20. It's a 3. And then on a single, it's a ground ball down the left field line. So to me, a ground ball down the line is not hit right at a fielder. So if it's hit down the left field line, if it's hit into left or right center field, if it's hit down the right field line, that's a moment where I give the opportunity for the base runner, for the batter, to take an extra base if he can. So to like a hustle double. So we got a ground ball down the left field line. That's definitely going to be a single. It's hit to the left fielder, so we already know that. So let's first check and see if there's an error on the pickup. There's no error on the pickup. 785 is too high. Now we look at Jermaine Dye's running speed. It's a -1. We look at the left fielder. The left fielder is Randy Winn. And the way we figure out like advantage on taking extra bases is we look at his range plus his arm. So those are the two factors that are going to determine whether you run on a guy or not, right? An outfielder. So his range plus arm is a -1. And the runner's speed is a -1. So those are equal. And when things are equal, the onus is on the base runner to carry the weight of whether he's safe or out if he wants to go. And we have a base running tag ups extra base chart. So -1 to -5 is where he is. So you can see it's 211 to 710. So he's got about a 50% chance. So it's a 50-50 chance that he will make it into second base. With 2 outs and Durazo coming up, I'm not inclined to do that, so I'll just hold him at first. He takes a big turn, and he's going to be in at first base with a single. Now I'm not playing with pickoffs and stuff like that, but you can do that as well. There's a system for getting a lead and picking batters off or picking runners off. This is an extra layer of detail. Next up is Durazo. Durazo with the game-winning homer. Go-ahead homer turned out to be the game-winning homer in game number 1. You can see excellent hitter, +4 against lefties, +5 against righties. So he is a lefty himself. So 1 + 4 is 5. A 1 to 15 he controls. A 387 against a lefty is a line drive. So line drives can go to the infield, to the outfield. 235 is going to be a line drive to left field. We'll see if there's a catch. Potential error, 080. The left fielder is Randy Winn. His error rating is a 0. And when we look at a 0, we see 28 to 91 is going to be an error, and this is an error on Randy Winn. So we're going to go with 2 outs. I typically go with a 2-base error, so the runners get 2, and he is going to be on at first with an E7. Not a 2-base error for everybody, just for the runners, because the runners are running with 2 outs. So, tough first inning here for Jamie Moyer. He's got first and third. He's already got 2 in on 2 home runs. And it is Terrence Long coming to the plate. Long is a lefty batter. He's a 0 against a -1. That makes him a 1 to 11 to control. He does control. It's a 128. And a 128 against a lefty is a ground ball. The grounder goes to the pitcher. So hit right back to Jamie Moyer. He makes the play. Now the pitchers have a range and an error range on their pitcher card, so you'll have to look on the pitcher card for that. So he makes the play, and when we have runners on base, we need to use our ground balls with runners on base chart. So on one side we have everything. We have catchers and pitchers on the other side. And then we have, if you're playing the infield in, there's an infield in chart that you can use. We have a pitcher, and we have runners at first and third. So this is the column we're looking at. You can see the pitcher, first and third. Our roll is a 652. 652 to the pitcher with runners at first and third. Normally that would be a 1-4-3 double play, but with 2 outs, you can see the number in the parentheses. It says 1-3, so that's going to be our. It says if 2 outs, use the play in parentheses. So that's what we're doing. You go ahead and do that anyway, because there can be all kinds. There's an all safe on these, so it's like whatever happened, everybody's safe, right? So you go ahead and roll, even though there's 2 outs. So with 2 outs, he makes the throw to first, and that's going to be the end of the inning. So Oakland goes up 2-0 on a couple of home runs. One from Tejada, or one from Hatteberg, and one from Tejada. And it's now 2-0 as we head to the top of the second. So let's sort of bring things up a little bit as far as speed is concerned. If there's anything strange, I'll point it out. It seems like a lot to remember, but once you get into the flow of things, like the core things that you do in every at bat, it becomes kind of second nature. So Boone is a 1 to 13 to control, so 596 against a lefty is going to be a strikeout. So Zito gets his first K. Again, we don't move. We don't move his stamina on a strikeout, because it's 1 for the batter, 1 for the strikeout, and it's just kind of pointless to move it. John Olerud to the plate. Olerud against lefties hit 239 628 OPS. Definitely struck out a lot more and walked a lot less. So better hitter against righties, which is why he has a +1 here. And then against lefties, he's a -1. So they're even Steven. 11 to 20 is to the pitcher. 279 against the lefty is going to be a fly ball. That fly ball goes to 262. That's a fly out to left, and it is caught in left field by Terrence Long. So 2 quick outs here in the top of the second inning, and it'll be Mike Cameron to the plate, center fielder for the Mariners. This just a couple of years removed from both teams being really excellent. 19. Cameron is a righty, so -1 and a +3 is a +2. So this comes off the pitcher, a 191 against a righty is going to be a ground ball. That grounder goes to second base, and 169 potential error. Let's see, Mark Ellis is a second. His error is a +1, 17 to 27, so he'll make the play at second. And a 1-2-3 inning for Barry Zito. So we're going to leave him right there because remember, it's 1 for the batter and 1 for a 1-2-3 inning. So after 6 batters, he's only moved his stamina 1, 2, 3 places because of the strikeout, because he's got 2 1-2-3 innings. So you can see a pitcher can stay in quite a bit longer. This is only an average for number of batters divided by games pitched. So that's how you get it. So it's really just an average. So, you know, it's not out of the realm of possibility. You could face 30, 35 batters, or he could go 21 batters. So, all right, Jamie Moyer against Ramon Hernandez. Moyer a lefty, so +2 and a -3 makes him a 1 to 9 for control. 507 against a left-hander. 507 is going to be a line drive. You can see he doesn't strike out much at all, as much against lefties. His strikeout range doesn't start until the 600s here, and it starts in the 400s here. So 354 on a line drive is a liner to center. That's going to be caught by the center fielder, Cameron. So we got L8 on the put out, and that'll be out number 1. Four is going to go to Singleton. Chris Singleton, the right fielder. 191 is a ground ball against a lefty. That grounder's hit to second base, and a 266 is a good play. As the second baseman, Brett Boone, makes a good throw over to first, and that's going to be out number 2. So a couple of quick ones here for Jamie Moyer, who bounces back from a tough first inning. Back to the leadoff man in Mark Ellis. This is going to come off of Ellis's card. 463 against the lefty is a fly ball. To second base. So a fly ball to second base is a pop up to second. 230 is a potential error. Second baseman is Boone. He's a good second baseman. 1 to 16 is his error chance. So that's going to be a pop up to second. That'll be out number 3. And a 1-2-3 inning for Jamie Moyer, so we'll leave that stamina there. Both pitchers looking good so far. So let's see how this one goes. Barry Zito against Jeff Cirillo, Carlos Guillen, and Ben Davis. So Cirillo against a lefty is a +1, so that evens them out. So righty He's a -1, +1, so that makes him their normal 50-50. This comes off the pitcher, 393. Is going to be a fly ball to center field. Center fielder makes the catch. That's Terrence Long out there. And that'll be out number 1. As Cirillo flies out to center. Brings up Carlos Guillen. Guillen's first trip to the plate. He's batting right-handed. So a -1 and a +1 is even Steven. And this comes off of Guillen's card. A 100 is going to be a grounder against the lefty. And that ground ball goes to short. 266. That's going to be a good play at short. As Tejada makes a good throw. And that'll be out number 2. Again, if you wanted to roll again for an error, you could. An error on the catch, error on the throw. Ben Davis to the plate. Davis hitting right-handed. He's a switch hitter. Against lefties, he hits 281, so much better against lefties. 895 OPS. He slugs at a 561 clip against left-handers. You can see 952 to 1,000 for a home run. 985 for 1,000 to 1,000 for a home run against righties. So about a 3% higher home run rate against left-handers. So we'll see what happens here. Against righties, he's a -1. Against lefties, he's a 0. So that will be a 1-9 for control. So let's go off the pitcher. 402 against a right-hander is a fly ball. As Davis lifts one to center field, and in center field will be Terrence Long. That's a can of corn. And another 1-2-3 inning for Barry Zito, who's cooking in this one, as he set down Seattle with 3 straight 1-2-3 innings. And we head to the bottom of the third. It's 2-0 Oakland. Jamie Moyer facing the heart of the order. It'll be Hatteberg, Tejada, and Chavez. This comes off Moyer's card. 216 against the lefty is a ground ball. That grounder goes to short, and the shortstop makes the play. Shortstop is Carlos Guillen. Miggy Tejada had a home run in his last at bat. He is a 1-13 for control, so this comes off the pitcher. 708 against a righty is just into his strikeout range. His strikeout range ends at 710, and see, he had a 708. So strikeout from Jamie Moyer. Maybe he got him with that big hook. And we'll leave him there for the strikeout. So you can see as much detail as there is in the game. You don't touch everything all the time. And also, the game in its core moves pretty quickly. A 6, I believe, will go to Chavez. A +2 and a +2 and a +1, yeah. So it's going to go to Eric Chavez. Chavez flied out to left in his first at bat. A 917 is probably good. In fact, against a lefty, a 917 is going to be a base hit. And that will be a blooper into right center field. I always rolled to see which fielder picked it up, because it could be the right fielder or the center fielder. So 1 to 10 it would be center field, 11 to 20 the right fielder. So it's picked up in center by Cameron. So we have a blooper to right center field. This is an area where you can take an extra base if you want to. It's a single, but he has a +1 running. Mike Cameron is a +11 when you add his range and his arm. So he's a +11. And in that case, I'm not inclined to run. The chance of making it is about 63%. Again, with Jermaine Dye coming up, I don't think there's a lot of need to try to push that. So that's going to be a base hit for Chavi. Although they are aggressive. They're aggressive across the board in their base running. Let's see what Jermaine Dye can do. He had a single in his last at bat. This is going to come off. So a 0 and a -3. That's a 1 to 7. So this comes off his card. 669 is going to be into his walk range. Dye's walk range. So he takes a walk. So now we take our 1 for the batter and an extra 1 for the walk. So that's how that works. So it's really a -2 on a walk. So a guy who's out there walking a lot of people probably is not going to stay in the game very much. So that's why that kind of penalty is there. I really tried to consider with stamina what would make a pitcher come out of the game quicker. What would tire the pitcher more? Walking batters means that you've thrown more pitches. Walking batters is mentally demoralizing. Walking batters is going to lead to more runs. Striking out batters is a lift to your spirit. Striking out batters means you've thrown more pitches, but it also, I think it negates itself by the boost, you know. And it's a boost to your team, and it will keep runners from scoring. So that's kind of the thinking with all those. Rubio Durazo. Durazo reached on an error against the left fielder in his first at bat. This is going to come off of Durazo's card. So a 147 against the lefty is a ground ball. And we have 2 outs here. 122. That's going to be a grounder to second base. No error on the play. And then we look at our chart here. So ground ball to second base. We've got a 449. That's here. Ground ball to second base with runners at first and second. And 2 outs. It's a 4-6 put out. So that quells the threat as Durazo grounds out to second, rolls over one of those big curveballs, and that will be the end of the third for Oakland. Go to the top of the fourth, 2-0 Oakland over Seattle. We're going to have Barry Zito, that's a 20, a 0-18. He's facing off against Ichiro. A 0-18 is going to be a ground ball. So 367, that's a grounder to second base. 294, no error on the play. Nice job by Ellis to get it over to the first baseman. Hatterberg playing first base in this one. Why would we do that? That's the wrong team. So Suzuki now over 2 with a couple of ground outs. He's yet to get a hit on this young season. And it'll be Randy Wynn. Wynn with a home run in his first game. Not going to get that here. 7-18. 7-18 against a righty is going to be a walk. So Randy Wynn on base with the walk. Now Randy Wynn steals at a +2. He's probably, I guess, Brett Boone also. So we can look and see here. So we got 20 stolen base attempts against righties and 8 against lefties. So he steals against right-handers a lot more. And let me just walk through stealing bases real quickly. So stolen bases, and it's all on here as well. So stealing bases, if there's no pickoff attempt, so that's there. So what we want to do is we want to find the battery value, which is the pitcher's hold value and the catcher's throwing value. So the pitcher's hold is here in purple on his pitching card. it's a +1. The catcher is Ramon Hernandez. His arm rating is a +2. So that's a +3. So we find those, we add those together, and then we find the steal value, which is the base runner's steal value minus 4, so that battery value. So the steal value here is going to be a +4, and we had a +2 arm plus a hold, so +3. So 4 minus 3 is a +1. And then using the final steal value, consult the proper stealing chart. So when you have that value figured out, you can look on here and you can see. And it's, you know, a 1 to 1,000 system, so kind of easy to figure out what the percentages are, right? So it's 21% all the way to 93. So what is that? 72% plus another 10. So about 82%. So pretty good chance of stealing the base there. So let's go ahead and steal the base. And then we're going to roll and we'll check our chart. Alright, a 0.74, that's could be in jeopardy though. 0.74 is here, it's in the green. Green is safe. And Randy Winn is in just under the tag with a stolen base of second. So the better the catcher's arm, the better the pitcher's hold rating, the more equal you're going to get with stealing second, stealing third, that kind of thing. So he has a pretty good chance of stealing third too, a little bit less than what he just had. But we'll hold off for now. That's going to be Edgar Martinez to the plate. I don't know if I moved one there, but oh, I did for the walk. So Edgar Martinez is up, and he is 0 for 1. He's going to control this at bat though. 4-10 against a lefty is a line drive. And that goes to right field. Potential error in right field, 008. Our right fielder is Jermaine Dye. He is a +1. So when we look on our error chart, we see a 17 to 27 is for a +1 rated fielder. So no error on the play as he makes the catch. So we can just mark that L9. Now we have a couple of charts here. One is runner advancement on a fly ball. One is runner advancement on a line drive. So we have a line drive, and we see we have a right fielder, and we'll just go and roll. 139. So we have a runner at second base, and with less than 2 outs, you'll consult this chart to see if there's runner advancement. 139 is here, so you can see that it's yellow. And yellow means it's the gamer's decision whether to go or not. With Brett Boone coming to the plate, I'm not going to chance it at third base, but one way you can figure it out is, okay, our guy runs at a +4. So you figure out a lot of the same way that you do with any base running situation. So he has a +4. The right fielder is Jermaine Dye. When it's caught in the air, you'll just use his arm. There's no need to use the range because he's not running to the ball. He's already at the ball. So we have a -4 arm. And when it comes to tagging up and taking extra bases, if it's even, if the either the range plus the arm or just the arm, whatever you're using, is even, then you're going to use, the onus is on, I got it here. So if the run value is greater, resolve it with the outfielder chart. If the fielder value is greater, or I should say equal to or greater, then resolve it with the base running chart. So let's go ahead and do it anyway. He's a fast runner. it's a line drive, might as well, because there's a chance for a wild pitch in here somewhere. So it's a small chance, but there is a chance. So let's go ahead and try to get him to third base. So we have a +4, we have a -4. That means that the onus is going to be on the base runner tagging up. But because he's such a fast runner, you know, you have a pretty good chance here. So a 10 to an 84, a 74% chance of making it. So we roll. It is a 665, and that is in the meaty middle, so he's going to be safe at third on the sac fly. So we'll call that the L9. He gets over there. You can see this is almost a 3 of a kind. If it had been a 3 of a kind, wherever the 6 is, if it had come up 666 on the throw for the extra base, then it says here, if the base runner is safe and the result of the 3d10 roll is the 3 of a kind, there's a possible error on the throw by the outfielder. So then you would roll again and then check the outfielder's error rating to see if there's an error on the play, on the throw. All right, so got a runner at third base now with Bret Boone coming to the plate. Boone's brother in the World Series right now, managing the Yankees. And Boone against lefties is going to be a +3. So this comes off his card. A 536 is against lefties. It's going to be a strikeout. So Barry Zito bears down and gets the K. Don't know if I moved that or not, but we'll just leave it there. So the Mariners get Randy Winn to third base, but they can't get him in. And the game is still 2-0 Oakland as we head to the bottom of the fourth. So you can see that the game slows down quite a bit once you get runners on base. And there's a lot of decisions to be made. And if you like this kind of thing where you're really thinking through the percentages and should I and how did the team play, you know, and trying to play them exactly like the team, you know, you can take those kinds of things into account. So the game is very detailed. I try to make it as detailed as I possibly could, but still playable. We got Jamie Moyer on the mound. His stamina is a 12, so he's not really in super danger here. He's probably 2 or 3 innings away from getting all the way down to 0. Terrence Long, though, is up. He grounded out to the pitcher his first at bat. And he, against a left-hander, he's a 0 and a +1. So he's a 1 to 11. We got a 1. 824 against a lefty is going to be a base hit. And that will be a ground ball into center field. And Terrence Long is aboard with a leadoff single. A Long, fast in the outfield, but not really a threat to steal, just a 0. We can look and see what their battery rating is. So it's a 1. And then the catcher is Ben Davis. He throws it a 3. So they're a +4. So if you're not at least a 4, you're going to be under. And when you're under on stealing bases, I'll show you the percentages. If you're less than 0, the percentage goes down from 21, it goes to 50%. So that's not a great opportunity. 50%. So Ramon Hernandez to the plate. Hernandez lined out to center in his first at bat. He's going to control this at bat. A 258 against a lefty is going to be a fly ball. As he lifts this one to right field. Catch is made in right. And we'll check to see if there's any runner advancement. Typically to right field with a runner at first base. You can see here that everything is going to be either a no-go or it's going to be my choice with a runner at first. And he's a -1. The right fielder is Ichiro. His arm is a +6. I'm not even going to roll for that. because it's my choice or a no. So I'm never going to choose to run with a runner that slow against Ichiro. So one down, Chris Singleton to the plate. You know what we're gonna do? Let's just let's use Chris Singleton to bunt. How about that? Don't do that very often. I'm gonna go for a bunt hit. I know a lot of things can turn out wrong, but let's it'll be like a sacrifice if it works out. So we got a bunt for hit. You can also do a sac bunt. A 353 is going to be here. The batter is out, 5-3. All runners will advance. So you get a chance for a hit out of it. And, you know, why not? So he tries to bunt for a hit. We're going to go 5-3 on the putout. Runner advances on the fielder's choice. He tried to bunt for a hit, so I'm not going to give him a sacrifice on that. But it does the same effect, same job. Mark Ellis to the plate, 2 down. And we've got a 16, that's going to come off of Moyer's card. A 059, it will be a grounder. That grounder goes to the third baseman. We got a 699. That'll be a good catch by the third baseman. And we got a runner at second base, 475. Runner second base, that's a 5-3 put out. As Cirillo makes a good throw across the diamond. So, Oakland strands 1. We head to the top of the 5th. It is 2-0 Oakland. They got both their runs on back-to-back home runs in the first inning. Otherwise, it's been a lot of nothing. Both pitchers settle in. Barry Zito has given up 1 walk, and that's it. He has not given up a base hit yet. So John Olerud to the plate. Olerud against lefties is a +1. Zito against lefties is a -1, so they're even up. Let's off the pitcher, 854. And of course, I just jinxed it. So you can see here, 854 against a lefty is into the hit range. So when there's a hit, I like to just pick up everything and roll it all again. I'll show you how we deal with hits off the pitcher card. It says it here. So a hit off the pitcher card, roll 3 D10s and check the batter card for the hit type. It's a gray box in the lower right hand corner. It's this here. So whether it's a lefty or a righty, roll the D20 and consult the hit location on the ballpark sheet. If you need to perform an error on the fielder, if this is a 3 of a kind, then you would need to perform a range check. If not, then it's going to be we'll look for the error. Okay, so anyway, one thing at a time. 701 for Olerud. He's facing a left-handed pitcher, so we're looking here. 1 to 702 is going to be a single. You can see how they come across here, right? Single, double, triple, home run. So that's going to be a single, and the location is 6. So that's going to be a ground ball into left center field as he gets it past the shortstop. It's going to be picked up by the left fielder. So the left fielder is Randy Wynn. He's a -1. No, the left fielder is Terrence Long. He's a -4. John Olerud is a -4. So the onus is going to be on him to try to make it to second if he wants to do something like that, which he's not going to do. His percentage of making that is about a 35% chance. So that's not something we're going to do. So it's a base hit into left center field. John Olerud is now 1 for 2. So that's how you resolve hits off of the pitcher card. We have a 9. So Cameron against Zito is going to be a +2. So it's off Cameron's card, and 8-10 is another base hit. This one is a ground ball down the left field line. And when there's a runner on base and the ball is a safe hit, then we're going to go to our runner advancement on hits to the outfield. So now this is where we need to know these numbers down here. So we got a runner at first. First to third, Seattle is cautious. We look at our first to third, and we look at our cautious, and then we cross-reference his -4. So -4 is here in this column, -1 to -5. It's hit down the left field line, and that's going to be a hold. So there are some auto advances, there are some player decisions, and then there's just flat out, he's not going anywhere. So, ground ball down the left field line, puts runners at first and second, and this is really the first hot water Barry Zito has been in. I jinxed him with the old, what do you call it, announcer's jinx, with the no-hitter quip. So we got Barry Zito, a lefty, against Cirillo, a righty. He's a 1 and a -1, so they're even Steven. So this comes off Cirillo's card. A 0-40 will be a ground ball. 466, the ground ball goes to the shortstop. 416, the ground ball is caught. So Tejada gets the ball. We got runners at first and second, nobody out. And a 679. 679 is here. We got first and second. It says a 6-4-3 double play. And so that's going to be an automatic double play. No need to check a double play. So tailor-made. We go 6-4-3. So fielder's choice here is out number 1, out number 2. And then this runner is going to move up on the fielder's choice. So if you look on here, you look in here and it says it's got the arrow to the right. That means that the runner advances. So the runner at second base, who did not get put out on the play, is going to advance. So we'll have a runner at third base, but it's going to be 2 outs. It's a double play, so we're going to let Zito stay there with his stamina. And it will be Carlos Guillen. Guillen grounded out to short in his first at bat. We got a 20 here, so that's off Zito's card. 725. Guillen, a switch hitter batting right-handed. So 725 is into the walk range. And that's going to put runners at the corners with 2 outs. So Zito cruising until the 5th. He's run into a little bit of a problem here. He does have the 9th place hitter up. This comes off Zito's card again. An 816 though against a righty is going to be a hit off of the pitcher card. So this is going to score a run. The hit is a 110 off of a lefty. So for Davis, that's going to be a single. And that's a line drive into left center field. Picked up by the center fielder. So that's going to score this run here. It's picked up by the center fielder. Let's see if there is an error on the play. 962, there's no error. And let's see what happens with this player here, Carlos Guillen. He's kind of fast. And the base hit is into I said it was into left center field, so that's important to know. First to third, they're cautious. He's got a +3 on his run. 1 to 5 into left center field, that's a hold. So he's going to hold up at second base. That puts runners at first and second, but does knock in a run. So Ben Davis drives in the first run of the game for Seattle. Ichiro to the plate. I don't think I took one off there. Ichiro to the plate. He is going to be a +5. So this comes off Ichiro's card. 559. He is a strikeout. So it's been a tough series so far for Suzuki, who has yet to get a hit and can't come through here with a runner in scoring position. But Seattle does get one. And it's now 2-1. Oakland over Seattle. Brings up Scott Hatteberg for the A's. This would come off Moyer's card. 987 though is going to be definitely a hit off the pitcher card. 051. That's kind of low number, is most likely a single, and it is. That's a line drive into center field. Falls in for a hit. And Scott Hatteberg is at first. He's now 2 for 3. Brings up Miggy Tejada. I guess we should have seen it. Is there an error? 103, possible error on the center fielder. He's a 0. And a 28 to a 91 is an error, so no error on the play. Miggy Tejada is going to be a 1-13 for control. 127 off a lefty is going to be a grounder. 925, that's a grounder to third. The play is made. And a 0-43, third base with a man on first. That's going to be a 5-3. You can see here, a 5-3 fielder's choice. And the arrow means that the runner advances. So the only play was to first. And we'll get that out. And he advances on the fielder's choice. So he moves the runner along at least. Maybe it was a hit into the hole, or he had to dive, or it was down the line or something. Chavi to the plate. Chavez is 1 for 2. Against the lefty, he's a +2, so he's going to be a 1-9 for control. So this is off of Moyer. 0-95 against a lefty. Another ground ball. 602. This one's going to go to short. 119. Possible error, I guess. Shortstop. He's a -2 error. 119. So he's over in this last column. 189 to 243. So that's not him. And so the catch is made. We got a man at second base. Hit to the shortstop. 974. That's here. And a man at second. A 6-3 ground out with a runner advance. So another little tapper allows the runner to advance to third. Don't know why I'm doing that. It's here. Fielder's choice. And we'll go 6-3 on the putout. So Chavez grounds out to the shortstop, Guillen. Guillen with the throw to first. And there's now 2 outs with a runner at third. An 8 is going to be a 1-7 for control for the batter. It's an 8, so it's off the pitcher card. 449 against a righty is a line drive. That liner goes to center field, and that's caught. On the third out, no need to check the runner advancement. As long as it's caught with no error, that is the end of the inning. So Oakland gets some runners on base, but they strand them at third. Get Hatteberg to third. That's going to take us to the top of the 6th inning. Good one here. Oakland 2, Seattle 1. Seattle comes up, sends up the heart of the order. They'll be facing off against Zito. Wynn, Martinez, and Boone. So Randy Wynn is 0 for 1. He had a walk in his last at bat and a stolen base. So he's batting right-handed. So he's going to be a 1 to 13 for control. So 404 is an error. No, it's not an error. Sorry, web joke. He's gonna. A 404 is going to be a fly ball against the lefty, and a 440 is to left field, and that is caught by the left fielder. That's Terrence Long making the catch. That's going to be out number 1. Edgar Martinez to the plate. Martinez is going to be a 1 to 14 for control. 388 will be a liner to center field, caught by the center fielder. Edgar now 0 for 3. And Zito faces Brett Boone with 2 outs. He struck out Boone twice. Boone has control here. 952. He might get his revenge. 952 against a lefty is going to be a double. And that will be a blooper down the right field line. And he's going to get 2 bags out of it. See if there's an error on the play. No error. So Brady Boone is going to wind up at second base in scoring position for John Olerud. Olerud singled and scored in his last at bat. This is a 13. These two guys are even Stevens. This is off of Zito's card. 186 against a lefty is a grounder. That goes to 416. It's a grounder to short. And possible error on the play. He's a 3, so no error. So ground ball to short with a runner at second base. 413 is going to be a 6-3 putout. And that will be all she wrote. In the 6th inning, as Tejada makes a good throw. And Seattle is down in the 6th. They've only scored 1 run. They trail by 1. And we're going to send Moyer out there for the 6th inning. We'll see how he goes. He's got the middle bottom of the order, so maybe he can deal with him. A 3 is going to go to Durazo. 172 is a grounder. That grounder goes to short. And a 119, that's not a guarantee, but he's a -2. Possible error on the plate. So a -2 is here. 189 to 243. So no error on the play, as Carlos Guillen makes a good throw and gets Durazo at first. And there's 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. Brings up Terrence Long. This will come off Long's card. A 0-14 though is going to be a ground ball. And that grounder goes to second base. No problem at second base. As who is that? Brett Boone. With a good throw to first and gets his man. And that's 2 quick outs here in the 6th. As Jamie Moyer trying to gut his way through 6 innings. This is going to be a 1 to 9 control for Ramon Hernandez. 251 is off his card. That'll be a fly ball. That's hit out to left field, lazy fly ball to left. And there to make the catch is Randy Wynn. So no run score in the 6th. Still 2-1. Our score, we're going to leave his stamina there. We could theoretically send him out for the next inning. He does pretty good against righties, but not so well against lefties. But Singleton doesn't hit against lefties, so maybe even up. We're going to send Zito out there for the 7th. He's still looking good as far as his stamina is concerned. He's given up 1 run and just a couple of hits, few hits, over his 6 innings. He's facing off against Mike Cameron. Cameron against lefties is a +3. Zito a -1, so he's a 1-12 for control. 425 is going to be a line drive. Line drive to third base. 267 dives for it, reaches out and catches it. And that's going to be a nice play at third base by Chavi. Cameron hits it hard right to the third baseman Chavez, but Chavez makes a good play. And that's going to be out number 1. Cirillo. Cirillo is even Steven here. So a 957, that could be real trouble for Zito. 957 is going to be just into his hit range. And it's going to be a blooper into right center field. That'll be picked up by the center fielder. He runs at a -1. And Singleton is a 0, so not going to attempt to take an extra base there, but that'll be a base knock. Let's see if there's an error on the play. Possible error, 150. He's a 0, so there's no error on the play. And aboard with a 1-out single is Jeff Cirillo, who got jammed, but he blooped it into right center field. Carlos Guillen to the plate. Guillen, 319 against the lefty, is a fly ball. A fly ball is out to right field, possible error. The outfielder is a +1, so no error on the play. So we'll go F9 on the putout. Runner at first base, I believe there's no chance that he's going to advance, so no need to even roll for that. Everything is either my choice or no go, with a runner at first and a hit to right, an out to right field. Maybe if the guy was fast, but Cirillo's not fast, so you might try to get him into scoring position, but not going to do that, especially with this arm out there, +6. No, thank you. So we got a 17. This will definitely go to Barry Zito's side. 664 to a right-hander is going to be a strikeout as Barry Zito gets the K to end the inning. Seattle getting runners on, just not able to get them home. They got the 1 run. It's 2-1. Oakland hasn't been much better, as they are struggling here after that first inning to get anything going. They got Jamie Moyer at the end of his rope. We're going to send him out for the 7th. This is an 837, could be a problem as this comes off of the pitcher card. Chris Singleton to the plate. An 896 against lefties is going to be a double, and that is a fly ball off the right field wall. As he spanks one out to right field, he's going to wind up with a 2-bagger. Let's see if there's an error on the play. No error. So he's going to wind up at second base with a leadoff double, and I think that's it for Mr. Moyer. So let me go ahead and bring in a new pitcher. All right, so new pitcher is going to be Arthur Rhodes. Rhodes grew up about a half hour from where I grew up. He was like definitely an older guy that we all knew about. Proud of him. Turned into an excellent pitcher for Seattle and Baltimore. Mark Ellis is to the plate. When we look at Ellis, a much better pitcher against righties than lefties. So 217 average, just 625 OPS. He strikes out a little bit less, he walks a little bit more, but he doesn't hit the ball very well. So what we're going to do is we're going to bunt for a hit for him. Again, we did this earlier. It serves as a, or maybe we did with Singleton. It serves as a way to bunt maybe you get a hit out of it. I don't know, or there's an error or something. Rhodes is a -2 against lefties, -1 against righties, so he's a very good kind of bucks any of the handedness trends. So you can bring him in against anybody, but he can only go 3 batters, so he's really in here to stop this rally from happening. So that's what we're all thinking here. We're going to do a bunt for a hit. Bunt for a hit has a lot of errors in here, and bunt goes foul. Bunter is still at bat, but he can't try a bunt again. I don't know. So there's a lot of things going on here. So Mark Ellis to the plate, 352. And whenever we have these strategy plays, we just roll straight off of here. We don't look at the matchups. So 352 on the bunt for a hit. Batter out, 5-3, all runners advance. So just like we tried last time, we're going to go 5-3 on the put out. That's going to advance the runner to third. Can't call it a sacrifice bunt because it wasn't. So Hatteberg to the plate with a chance to add to the lead. Arthur Rhodes trying to keep this one at 1 run. Runner at third, 1 out. Rhodes against lefties is a -2, and against lefties he's a +3. So 1 to 11. So this comes off the pitcher's card. 475 against the lefty is a strikeout, big time from Arthur Rhodes. So he gets a strikeout, and he's almost out of this mess. Got a runner at third with 2 out. Base hit, scores a run. And Miggy Tejada to the plate. Tejada 1 for 3 with a homer. He homered back in the first inning. Against a lefty is a +6. Against righties he's a -1. So 1 to 15 for control. So this is off Tejada's card. 576. Against a lefty, 576 is a line drive. That goes to 430. That's a liner to center. 223. Possible error on the play. The center fielder is Mike Cameron. He's a 0. So there's no error, and Cameron is going to make that catch on the run for the 3rd out. And Oakland gets a runner to third base, but they strand him. Terrific job by Arthur Rhodes coming in to keep Oakland at bay. And that keeps the score at 2-1. We head to the top of the 8th inning. It'll be Zito still in the game. Stamina is still looking good. He's got a 1-run lead, and he'll face off against the top of the order. We're going to give him a short leash, probably. He's facing off against Suzuki, Wynn, and Martinez. This will go to Suzuki's card. 325 against a lefty is a fly ball. That goes to center field, and it is a catch made in center field by Chris Singleton. Tough series so far for Ichiro, as he's not getting off to a great start. He's 0 for 8 his first 2 games. Brings up Randy Wynn. Wynn with a little bit of success in game 1. We got a 3 of a kind, so we're looking at that. 17, most likely to Zito. So we got a right-hander and a left-hander, 1 to 13. So this is off Zito's card. And now we have 666, right? So when we look here and we find the range against a right-hander, 666 falls into the K range. But because it's a 3 of a kind, if it's a 3 of a kind on a ground ball, fly ball, line drive, K, or walk, then we consult the highlight plays chart. If it's a 3 of a kind on a single, double, triple, then we find the hit location, and it has to be on a blooper, fly ball, or line drive, and then we'll do a range check on those plays. So a little bit new. We have a strikeout. Strikeouts are the last page. I reworked the highlight plays, so if you still have this from the other, from the 2023 version of the game, I just made these darker, and then so they're easier to see where like one starts and one stops. It's kind of hard to see. So we got strikeouts. We got 0 to 100 over here to my left, and the rest are here. So we roll to see what happened on this highlight play. 6-16. Slider up in the zone. The ump calls strike 3. So the assumption, I think, is bad call by the ump, but he gets the strikeout. Doesn't change anything from what it would have been, but that's where you're going to get some things like odd strikeout plays. So Barry Zito, slider up in the zone, gets Randy Winn. Bad call by the ump. But when you're good, you get those. Edgar Martinez to the plates. Edgar 0 for 3. He is going to be a 1 to 14 for control. So 751 off his card is going to be in a walk range. So Zito with his third walk of the game. 9% walk percentage. It's not great. A little above average. I mean, like worse than average. Average usually around 8 in the majors. We got a lot of trouble here though. This is a 2. This is a Booney's card. 987 against a lefty is going to be into the home run range. Let's see what happens on this home run. We got a 13. Home run deep to right center field. And just like Miggy Tejada, he gets a hold of a fastball and he drills it into right center field for a 2-run homer. And just like that, the A's lose the lead. So probably should have brought in a reliever there. But we got to do it now. So John Olerud to the plate. It's now 3-2 Seattle on a prodigious blast by Brett Boone. So let me bring in a new pitcher. All right, new pitcher is going to be Ricardo Rincon. He comes in to relieve Zito. Zito 7 2/3 innings. Gives up the go-ahead run there, so he's at 3 runs at this point. That closes the book on him, I guess. So gives up 3 runs and the lead, and Oakland's going to have to come back in this one. Rincon, famously part of the Moneyball book, was like a huge get for Billy Beane back in 2002. And so here on the team in 2003, if you need a left-handed out, this is your guy. 290 FIP against lefties, 22% K percentage, only an 8% walk percentage. Against righties, you don't want him to be out there. So he's coming in to get this guy out, John Olerud, and to get this game to the bottom of the 8th inning. Olerud against lefties is a +1. Rincon against lefties is a -2. So Olerud is a 1 to 9 to control this at bat. And even if he does, he's only a 239 hitter against lefties. So 15 is going to come off of Rincon's card. A 488 against a lefty is going to be a strikeout. Actually, no, that's a line drive. Huh? That'll be a liner to center. And the play is made in central by Chris Singleton on a line drive. So L8 on the putout, that's out number 3. But look at that, Seattle with a crooked number up there. And it is 3-2 now after the 2-run homer from Brett Boone, who comes through, number 4 hitter for the Mariners in this game. Speaking of 4 hitter, that's going to be who's leading off the bottom of the 8th. It'll be Chavi, Jermaine Dye, former Brave, and Arubio Durazo. Need a new pitcher here for the Mariners. New pitcher for the Mariners is Julio Mateo. Mateo, pretty good, 410, 420 FIP back in 2003. -2 against lefties, -2 against righties. A little bit better against right-handers than left-handers. It's not going to serve him well here, but it will help him against Jermaine Dye. He's a 7. He can, multi-inning pitcher. What we're trying to do is get him to the 9th inning. Then we can bring in Rafael Soriano. Soriano lights out in 2003. All right, so against Chavez, we'll have a new pitcher. And the A's are down by 1. They need some runners. We got an 11, so righty-lefty, so -2 against a +6 is 1 to 14, so it's off Chavi's card. 200 is going to be a fly ball against a right-hander. That fly ball goes out to right field, and the catch is made in right field by Ichiro, and that'll be out number 1. Brings up Jermaine Dye to the plate. Soriano, Dye is going to be a 1 to 7, so it's off the pitcher's card. 630 against a righty is a strikeout. He's got a big strikeout range. K percentage against right-handers is 27, so definitely that's going to be where the bulk of his strikeouts come from. So we got a left-hander up there. Gets a little bit dicier for Mateo against lefties. This comes off Durazo's card. 133 though is not a high roll, and that's going to be a ground ball. That's hit hard, but right to the shortstop. Play has made it short, and with nobody on, that's going to be a simple 6-3 play. And that's going to be all she wrote in the 8th. So Julio Mateo comes in and shuts down the Oakland offense in the 8th. We've had a couple of really good games here, good pitching staffs, and we'll see if it continues. Rincon, not good against righties, so we're gonna we're gonna treat this like a save situation. We're gonna bring in Keith Folk again. He's got to be able to get this game to the 9th inning. Rincon came in for 1 player. 0s across the board. And really saved the game. Kept them at bay, I guess. 5 for Keith Folk. He'll face off against Mike Cameron, Jeff Cirillo, and Carlos Guillen. Cameron against a righty is a +2. Folk is a -2, so they're even Steven. This comes off the pitcher card. 584 is into the strikeouts, and that's going to be Keith Folk with a strikeout. Devastating splitter and change, if I remember. I don't know if it was both of those, but it was one of them. It was a pitch that just died when it got to the plate, and Keith Folk with the strikeouts. Jeff Cirillo, right-handed batting third baseman. He's going to be a 1 to 8 for controls. This is off Folk's card. He gets a piece of it, 0.68. That's going to be a grounder. And that grounder goes to the third baseman. Possible error on the third baseman, Chavi. He's a +7, so there's no error on the play. And that's going to be a 5-3 putout. That'll be out number 2. A couple of quick ones here. In the top of the 9th inning, Keith Folk, longtime Chicago reliever for the White Sox, trying to get this one to the bottom of the 9th, give his team a chance. A 14 is going to come off of his card, and that will be a ground ball facing against the lefty. So a ground ball, 446, is a grounder to short, and the play is made by the shortstop. That's Tejada with a good throw to first. And a 1-2-3 inning for Keith Folk, who comes in and shuts the door on the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners, though, thanks to this 2-run blast by Brett Boone, have a 1-run lead, and they're going to send in their closer, Rafael Soriano, See if he can seal the deal in this one. Soriano, a 180 FIP in 2003. I mean, I remember he was just lights out. I don't think he ever repeated it, but boy, he was so good. We got no hits, no runs, no walks, a strikeout. So good job by the Seattle bullpen. Good job by both pitching staffs, really, at this point. Only 2 runs given up by the starter, Jamie Moyer, in 6 innings. We get shutdown innings from Arthur Rhodes, Julio Mateo, and now they hand the ball off to Rafael Soriano. So let's see if Soriano can get the deed done. He's going to be facing off against Terrence Long, Ramon Hernandez, and Chris Singleton. Long real good against right-handed pitching. So let's leave him in there to hit. This comes off the pitcher's card, 400. I'm afraid might be a strikeout. It's not. It's a line drive, and it's hit to the left fielder, and no problem in left, as Wynn makes a nice catch in left for out number 1. Let's see, Ramon Hernandez. He's also a +4 against right-handers, so we'll leave him in there too. So that makes him a 1-11 for control. He doesn't get it. A 3-11. Off Soriano's card is going to be a fly ball. And that fly ball goes out to right field. Can of corn in right for Ichiro. And Seattle is 1 out away from a victory that would even up this series, this opening series. They lost game 1 4-2. Played that offline. Chris Singleton to the plate, also decent enough against right-handed pitching. He is a 1-8 for control. So this comes off his card, a 948. That's trouble. Against a righty, 948 is going to be a 2-bagger. As Singleton, with a ground ball into left center field, that's going to be picked up by the center fielder, Cameron. He runs at a -2, so there's no threat there. But a double that rolls all the way to the wall. And the A's have an opportunity here. They must really crack right-handed pitching. All these guys are solid. Ellis is a +3. Soriano a -3, so they're even Steven. And he is pretty good. 706 OPS against righties. We got a 15. That comes off Soriano's card. A 275 is going to be a fly ball. This one's hit to left field. In left field is Wynn, and he is going to make the catch. He's under it, and that is going to be out number 3. So Keith Folk provided a little drama, but he gets the out. Or Soriano provides some drama, and he gets the out. That is going to be a save for him, and this one goes down as a 3-2 victory. So in game number 1, Oakland scored 2 in the bottom of the 8th to take a 4-2 lead. In game 2, Brett Boone hits a 2-run homer in the the top of the 8th to give Seattle the 3-2 lead, and Soriano hangs on for the win. I will stop this and come back with the totals right after this. All right, and we are back with the totals in this one. 3-2 our score. Seattle over Oakland. For Seattle, it's 3 runs on 6 hits and 1 error. And for the Oakland A's, it's 2 runs on 8 hits and no errors. The big blow here from Brett Boone, 2-out, 2-run homer in the top of the 8th inning, as Zito was out there. He was trying to hang on, get through 8. He's going to take the L. Goes 7 2/3 innings, gives up 3 earned runs. I mean, he gets a quality start out of it, but tough way to go. Rincon comes in and gets the 3rd out. Keith Folk provides 1 inning of scoreless relief, and then the win. Moyer was already out of the game. He went 6 innings, 2 runs. Arthur Rhodes is going to get the win, as he was in the 7th and was still in, had not been switched for coming out in the 8th. So he's going to get the run here, or get the win. Mateo will get the hold, and Soriano with the save. So 3-2 is your score. This series tied at 1 apiece, as each team has won one game of this opening series. So these two played each other in 2003, April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and that was how the season started. So this is using the 2003 season for Precision Baseball. I did a little bit slower play through this. I do that every once in a while just to kind of, reintroduce the game. I know some people are probably going to come in because it's 2003 and not 2023. So if you like this, you can tell as we went through farther in the game, it picked up the pace a little bit. Once you get runners on base, or you're thinking about things, you're not very familiar with the players, it goes a little bit slower. But when nobody on base, the game has a pretty good pace. But with runners on base and with the fielding, you just get a ton of detail. There's just a lot of detail in the game. So if this is not your game, move on. I got other ones. The Game of Dice Baseball is fun. On-base baseball is fun. There's other games. Quick play baseball is a lot of fun. So if you're looking for something quicker or medium play, this is not your game. But if you love the details, if you love to get in and see, you can see that I don't have ratings necessarily. The only ratings here are based off of actual compiling of stats against the average. So all of these stats down here don't tell you much, but they do help you to play the game. So okay, I need a fly ball. I need to bring in a fly ball pitcher. I need a ground ball. I need to bring in a ground ball pitcher. I need a whatever, against a lefty. And so you can bring that in. Do you need a fly ball to the outfield? Then bring in a pinch hitter with a high fly ball percentage, a high fly ball rate. And you can see the rate you calculated here. So for Ben Davis, it's 13% is his fly ball rate. But for Randy Winn, it's 22. For Edgar Martinez, his fly ball rate is 24. So do you need a fly ball? Bring them in. Do you need need to avoid a strikeout? Bring in a guy who avoids strikeouts. Okay, so you can look through this game and you can really find the exact player, and it really puts you in the manager's shoes. We have the manager tendencies as well. So if you wanted to play this game a little bit more like they do, so stealing second, they don't steal bases, obviously. They don't sacrifice very much. They intentionally walk a little bit more than the average. The Oakland A's did. They pinch hit a little bit more than the average, and then they're a little bit less than average on pinch running and number of pitchers per game. So he's a little bit slower hook than average, Ken Maka. So you can stick with a guy a little bit longer. That's why you can stick with Barry Zito, and it's kind of realistic that you would do that. He doesn't have a quick hook. So you can look at those. You can play out the teams the way that the manager actually played them. Those are more guesses, what does that actually mean? A little bit less than average, but it just means a quick hook or a really quick hook. Second he gets in trouble, he's out, like that kind of thing. Or do you let them be in there? Do you let them stick with it? Try to work themselves out of a jam? Maybe they get a chance to give up more runs, or maybe they get through it. Different pitcher or managers have different personalities, and so that's recorded in the game. Also, with their tendencies for base running and taking extra bases, that's pulled directly from statistics against the average. And so, on average, Oakland is Seattle's more cautious. Oakland is very aggressive against the average of taking more bases. So you can work those things into the game. It's a beautiful game. We got these really nice ballpark card images here. So ballpark sheets, I guess. And each of these ballparks is specific to its own ballpark. So we have some fly ball off the glass windows in right field. We have off of the roof truss, so that's like a ground roll double, and a couple little different things here and there that have to do with the ballpark specifically. into the stands in right center field. So if you're familiar with any of these ballparks, you'll know what it's talking about when it says over the scoreboard in right field. You'll know what that means. So it's very cool. And you get some of these numbers over here, the plate and the foul territory, that comes into play on a highlight play. You can rob home runs based off of the wall height, and then you just have your general wall distances here, which don't come into play yet, but I do anticipate creating a little bit different system for the fielding at some point. So just haven't never gotten around to that. Not really inspired about how to do that, and it's going to be pretty complicated. So don't know how that's exactly going to work out, but we'll figure it out along the way. The game is great. We got 2 seasons, 2003, 2023. 2003 is going to be the oldest season that I do for this game, because all of these stats are based off of advanced stats. Everything is the ground ball, fly ball, line drive percentages. This entire game engine here is based off of those. So there's no, I'm not going to guess at them. And it's hard to find those statistics as you go back in time, and to find them with splits is impossible. So they're not split out. So I'm not going to go back farther than 2003. I've got a good thing going here. This is just more of a modern game. So if it's not your bag, again, it's okay. I'm sorry that it doesn't work with older games. But there's lots of other games out there that have like historical baseball, and they play great, and they're very detailed and wonderful. But this is not one of them. So this is going to be more of a modern type game. You will get almost over 1,900 player cards. This is just one team. You can see here, these are all the batters that are not in the game, including pitchers who hit. So there was interleague play in 2003. So Freddie Garcia gets a pitcher hitting card, and Joel Pinheiro and Ryan Franklin, Gil Mesh got some got 5 plate appearances. You're also going to get guys who got at least 1 plate appearance. So you see this guy here, he's got 2 plate appearances, and he gets carded. So this is perfect. This guy has 1. He got 1 plate appearance against a right-hander, so that's all he can do. In that case, if it's a left-handed pitcher, then all the results are going to come off of the pitcher card. So if there's nothing here, you can't have any results come off the batter card. Jamie Moyer, if it was a National League team, he would have had a card. Or if you just want to play with pitchers batting, you could use that. So if you got 1 plate appearance, you got a card. If you got one batter faced, you get a card. I don't know if we have any guys like that in here. But some of these guys just got a cup of coffee, you know, and that's just how it is. Looks like the A's used a lot of their bullpen. I know there's some guys in the bullpen here for Seattle. Some guys with real low. So Armando Benitez, just 11 innings pitched. Aaron Taylor, this guy has 12 innings. This guy just 9 innings, I guess. Jeff Nelson, or maybe old Jeff Nelson, I don't know, 4 innings here for Matt White. So just a cup of coffee, really, and he gets a card too. So the game is in depth. The game is detailed. You get this gameplay sequences chart, which kind of helps you walk through each of the different parts of the game. So these are your like sort of main things that happen up here. And if you have a home run chart or home run on a batter card, and it says just over the fence, then you do the Rob home run check. So a lot of these things are laid out for you. We didn't have any double plays using the double play ratings or the line drives. Taking a lead, pickoff attempts, stealing bases. These are all your base running sort of things over here. These are all your like main things in your fielding. But the base running is pretty detailed in the game, but it walks you through how to do that for each batter. And then the pickoff attempts and all that kind of stuff is in the game guide. So you might want to just print that page off separately, do it front and back, and then you'll just have it out. Everything comes as a PDF. I hope that no one is surprised by that. Someone got surprised by that. This is not a printed game. It doesn't come printed already. You have to take the download file and print it. So just be aware of that. If you don't like PDF games, that's fine and dandy. But this game is way easier to produce and give to you. It only costs $12 for all of this. Like I said, 1,900 full color player cards for $12 is just kind of unheard of. It's a lot of players, and and you get the full color charts. You get a full color game guide. You get all the ballpark sheets, and you'll get 30. Plus, there's a bonus one. So Montreal played in Puerto Rico for, I don't know, 20 or 25 games in this season, and then I think in 2004 they also did before moving to Washington. So they played some out of the country, and you'll get that stadium from Puerto Rico, and you'll also get the stadium in Montreal. So for the Expos, so you get to play one of the last seasons for Les Expos, and you'll get the ground ball chart with the ground balls on the infield end, the runner advancement, the fly ball, the runner advancement on fly balls. All of these charts here, we only scratched the surface really, but you can still second, third, and home. And then use these for your double plays if you get into a double play situation. This is a range check, this is the home run check, and then this is for outfield arms if you're trying to take an extra base. So that one we did come across, and you get the highlight plays, you get the managers. So all of these things are going to come with it. In your purchase, you'll get everything you need for a full season replay. There's no reason to buy anything else. You'll also get the different strategy plays. There are also some defensive strategies that you can play as far as not just infield in, but you can play a double play depth. You can guard the lines. You can, I was thinking there's one more, but there's a few defensive sort of lineups or, alignments that you can play. And they just kind of give a boost to different people. So double play depth, the shortstop and the second baseman get a boost on their double play rating like that. But then it costs you in some other ways. So if there's a ball that's hit between third and short on the highlight plays, specific highlight plays, that's going to go into the outfield for a hit, that kind of thing. So you're sort of giving up a little bit, but trying to play back to the average. So there's a lot of different things. That's all in the game guide. Hopefully it's very clear. One of the things that people have said about my games in the past is how clear I write the game guides. So hopefully that helps you. And if you ever have any questions, you can either go to clarkandaddisongaming.com and go to the contact form and send me an email, or you can email me at clarkandaddisongaming@gmail.com. Or you can leave a comment or a question here on any of the YouTube videos about this game. I'm happy to get to it. You can also join the Facebook group if you're on Facebook. So go to Facebook groups, look up Clark and Addison Gaming Company, and then you'll be able to find us, answer a few questions, agree to the group rules, and then I'll let you into the group. And there, ask away. Post your results, ask questions. We got guys going through On Base and posting their results to On Base Baseball, people talking, asking questions about play action football. So there's lots of different discussions and things. I put polls there asking about different things, how directions for games, what seasons should come next, that kind of stuff. So definitely a lot of things to engage with, a lot of other gamers who are playing. We got over 100 members now in the Clark and Addison Gaming Company Facebook group. So lots of people to engage with and see what they're doing. And that's going to be where I post everything first. So this video is going to go there first before it goes anywhere else. And you're going to be the first to know. They probably got a 2 or 3 day lead, advance notice on the 2003 season being available. So that's always going to be kind of where things go first and where I post games that I don't sell or publish. I'll put those in the file section so you can try them out either as a demo or just to have another game. I've got one like old school classic dice baseball games that I'm putting into a paper form, so you can you'll be able to play like these old dice baseball games from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s that people came up with and shared on a website. That was actually where On Base Baseball kind of started, from that website and from those games, and then kind of evolved and grew out of that. So I'll be providing that, and it'll be just like a single sheet with all the different results, and you can just play a game of baseball with 2d6 dice, and it's got all the kind of the rules and the little things that kids came up with back in the day. So pretty interesting, just to kind of see the history of dice baseball and how it came about, and how, you know, we got to this point where we're at something more sophisticated like this. But you can really play very easily if you want to teach someone, or if you have a grandson or a son or a daughter or granddaughter who's super interested in baseball. You can kind of teach them how baseball is played and what goes on, just with a very simple game. So pretty cool stuff, and lots of things to kind of go through. I'll be adding that to the file section soon. All right, I've gone on long enough here. Thank you for sticking around. If you've stuck around this long, what are we at? We're at 2 hours. So the game does not take that long to play. Obviously, it was going very slow for a good portion of it. So just realize that the game is going to take you an hour, maybe an hour and a half at the beginning, but it's probably going to get back down to about an hour and 15 minutes. If I'm playing this game where I don't have to talk, it's usually right around an hour, 50 minutes or an hour, but you know, recording and stuff like that just makes it take longer. So you can kind of shave off 10% on any game that you're watching being played on YouTube, because nobody's talking this much through these games. Nobody's explaining these much while you're playing it yourself. Very rarely are you can just take 10% off of whatever the video time is, and that's probably going to get you pretty close to how long the game actually takes to play. But I want to let everybody know just kind of how things are going, and the way this game is played is more complex than most, and so you can't necessarily just look at it and say, oh, I get it. You know, you got a lot of things going on here, and then a lot of things going on everywhere. So you'll get it if you buy it. $12, really cheap. I try to keep it cheap so that if you're printing, there's a lot of color here to print, so I don't want to blow out your printer or your color ink or anything like that. So maybe if I can take a few bucks off, it will help you toward replacing your color. But the color is awesome, and it adds to the game. I try to keep it in for reference, and it makes some things much easier to reference. Once you once you print out these pages, I've had these pages printed out for months and months and months. So I just keep reusing the same one. So there's no need to, same thing here. You know, once you have this printed out, there's really no need to keep printing things out over and over. Same with the stadiums. But that said, you can print in black and white. It still works. The color is just a helpful aid in most of these things, but it's totally unnecessary. If it's in black and white, it's fine, because you'll be able to still cross-reference the base situation with the roll result, and there really is there's no problem with printing it in black and white. Same with the cards, but it's a nice touch that some people say they really like to have the team colors on there. All right, I think that is it from here. I really appreciate everybody's support on this game. Purchasing 2023, get out there, purchase 2003. It was a super fun season. These are players in my wheelhouse. This is like right after college, and definitely I was paying a lot of attention to baseball at that time, and remember a lot of these. If I was to play a game, I would remember them playing against each other. So really fun season for me, and I don't know what's next. Maybe 2024 I'll just start working on that, try to get that out there this winter, and give everybody something to play in preparation for spring training. So, all right, I think that's it from here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.